Deus Ex Mankind Divided is now finally out in the wild, and mostly it has been met with resounding praise, and from what I've seen so far, rightfully so. Now, it's not to say that the game is without its bugbears. There's two pretty major ones that I want to discuss today. It's microtransactions slash pre-order bonuses and the PC port. Technically it's three, but you know, you get my point. Let's begin with the game's pre-order bonus DLC, as that have sparked quite the furious reaction on the Deus Ex subreddit. Now, the complaints are revolving around single-use, single-save pre-order items. Basically, DLC items are saved in storage, and you can transfer them at any point into your inventory, and basically people were surprised to discover that after you transfer something to your inventory, they could not be used again, even on another playthrough. So it's not even like one per thing, it's one and then that's it. Now, some players have suggested a bit of a workaround for this. Basically, make a save as soon as the game allows you to, claim the pre-order DLC, and then start every subsequent playthrough from that save and not from a new game in the menu. Now, it does mean that if there's any new game plus sort of arrangements, that you won't benefit from that, but it does mean, of course, you won't lose your pre-order DLC bonuses. Now, while this is a workable workaround, it's pretty damn ridiculous, that being the situation and the fact that people have to do this. You know, one per playthrough, that makes perfect sense, but one and then that's it? That seems a bit iffy. However, a Eidos Montreal community manager by the name of Patricia stepped in to clarify a few things, and basically said there are two types of items in the game: consumables and durables. Consumables are stuff like praxis kits, ammo, credits, and crafting parts. These are one-time use items, and once you add them to your inventory, they are consumed in your current playthrough and are not reusable. Now, apparently the consumables work the way they do due to, quote, first-party constraints, which basically means that somehow Microsoft and Sony are at fault, although it's such a vague statement, it's impossible to figure out what really she actually means. Now, durables are things that you'd expect, like weapon skins and augmentations. They are automatically available in all of your playthroughs once you have downloaded and installed them. Now, this actually led to a bit of ire surrounding the microtransactions. Now, I spoke about these quite some time ago. Go check out my original video if you so desire. And it's basically you can buy consumables with real money. So you can buy something you can literally only use once and that's it. You can't use it once per playthrough, once and that's it. You can buy things from praxis kits to credits and booster packs and custom weapons for the Breach game mode. However, there are microtransactions for the single player, and these are naturally causing the biggest stink, and rightfully so, because, well, this is a full-players AAA title. And you can buy praxis kits for the campaign, for example, for £3.59 or 5,000 credits. Now, as I just said, praxis kits are consumable. So you buy something for £3.50 basically, £3 and then that's it. You've just spent your £3. You have to spend it again if you want another one. Now, basically, because of this, many people are accusing Square Enix, of course, that are the publisher, of using these consumables to create a microtransaction market for Deus Ex Mankind Divided. However, Patricia was of course quick to say that microtransactions have no impact on game design, which is pretty laughable, but here's what she had to say. Quote, "Hi everyone, we've read your concerns and wanted to step in and clarify things here. We have not and will never compromise the balance of the game in order to direct people towards microtransactions. The game was balanced 100% independently of the microtransactions available in the store." Now that seems a bit rich because, well, if there's microtransactions in the game, any game, it's because they want you to spend money on them. So even if they are not overtly sort of heralding you towards these microtransactions, it is going to be subtly balanced in that way because, well, why would the microtransactions be there if they don't want you to spend money on them? To say that they haven't sort of pushed you that way even slightly is a bit silly, to be honest. Now, I'm not saying that the microtransactions are rammed down anyone's throat or anything like that. That's not the case from what I've seen, you know, that they do seem to be just sort of there. They're not like, hey, do you want to buy this for real money all the time or whatever, but they do still exist, and that in itself is a bit irksome. Of course, microtransactions in full price games are not literally Satan. There are some times where it can work, even if it does tend to leave a bit of bad taste in my mouth. For example, I have yet to buy a loop crate in Overwatch with real money, because why would I? So basically you have a system where you can buy things with real money and then only use them once and have to buy it with real money again. So yeah, I think you can understand why people are getting a little upset by this. There is a link in the description for the Deus Ex subreddit. We can take a look at all the ire that's happening right now, and to be honest, most of it's pretty damn justified. As you guys know, I have a massive distaste for microtransactions in full price games. You know, they're in Overwatch, not great, but that is a special case with it's not going to have any paid DLC outside of like the costumes and stuff. This is not really the same thing, to be honest. As much as Overwatch's microtransaction system needs work, it's not as bad as this by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, if you could just stop it, people, that would be great. It's a shame because I've heard the game is really good and this is going to definitely tarnish it for many people, and it's definitely leaving a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, to be sure. With that out of the way, let's move swiftly on to the PC version. Now, of course, many people are going to be playing this on PC, but sadly it seems the PC port is a bit of a mixed bag, to say the least. And according to Steam reviews, the game has weird mouse acceleration that cannot be turned off, as well as the XY speeds being different, and there are even some complaints of optimization issues. Now, one user wrote, quote, "I entered the game to find that optimization is absolute. I mean, really bad. Yes, I turned off MSAA, turned down volumetric lighting, etc., and yet the game still has massive stuttering with a bizarre input lag that makes aiming a pain in the balls." And at the time of recording, the PC version on Steam has mixed reviews with over 3,000 reviews, 3,252 to be exact. There are also reports of crashing at startup and the mouse issues, and some even saying that the menu doesn't work correctly. But they have given a few suggestions for performance assistance, and that being driver update, of course, turn off MSAA, turn off contact hardening shadows, keep volumetering light to on or off. If you have a 4GB GPU, use settings up to high, use 1080p resolution, and enable exclusive full screen. Now, apparently the crashing issues at startup and at the train station are under investigation, and apparently the mouse not feeling right is in the menus, and it's fine in the game according to Square Enix, but you know, reports say otherwise. Either way, they're working on it. And there's even a full guide in the Steam community, which I'll link in the description below, as to how to mitigate these performance issues. So if you are encountering them, do check below. They will be there for your perusal. So there's Reddit and Steam there for you in the description. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.